Alright, so we built this calculator in React, and let's go over how it works. Okay, so we have all these buttons. We have HTML to render out these buttons and the screen, and then CSS to style all of these things. Um, so first of all, we have when we're trying to insert a variable from JavaScript into HTML, we want to surround it with curly brackets, and these curly brackets are for JSX. JSX has to be, when we want to put JSX into HTML, we need curly brackets. The same thing goes for here. We need these curly brackets to put this JavaScript object into the style tag. And this is what styles our React component. React will take these styles, translate them into CSS, and then display them out. Okay, and for our calculator, we have these two lists. We have these symbols that go on the top first, and then we have another list called numbers and symbols, which are spread out here. Actually, we could have put these together. I think it would still work. Um, yeah, it still worked the same, to be honest. Get rid of this. Make it cleaner. Okay. Because we built this a little bit different from the last time. But, okay. So we have what we're doing with these numbers and symbols right here was we're mapping through each one, and the map function returns us each one of these characters, whether it be a string or a number, each one at a time in a list, and allows us to modify it, and we'll create a new list with the modified elements. So in this case, we don't really want to modify it, but we want to return HTML for every item in this list. So we'll get the syntax, the symbol of the item, we'll get the index. The index is what we need for a key, because in React, whenever we're using the map function, we need a unique key for every item in a list that we render out with HTML. And that's just something specific to React. We also get the symbol, which is the actual character that's inside of this list. So whether it could be a string, it could be a number, depends on where we're at in that list. And then what we're doing is we're rendering it out here using these opening and closing curly brackets. We put the symbol right here. That corresponds to that list item. And we're surrounding it in a button, which is the HTML of the page. Here are the styles that we apply to the button, the key that we need to make it unique, and then this on-click listener, which is something specific to React. It says when you click this thing, call this function. So this is a callback function, which then calls this handle click function and passes the symbol into it. So let's go to the top and see what this handle click is doing. This handle click is taking in that symbol, or number in this case, as a parameter, then converting it to a string, so these numbers will get converted to strings, and then we're going to use the second argument of this useState hook, which the first argument stands for the variable, and the second argument sets that variable. And so this is a function that sets the variable, and it takes the callback function that passes in the previous state as a parameter. So let's pass in the previous state and then do whatever goes on inside here. And that when we return from this function, whatever we return will be the new state. So we have a previous state, pass it in here, and then we return the previous state plus the number. So if we have like the number 2, first we have the empty string. If we type the number, let's pretend we type 2 on the keys, and it'll turn into this. And then after the 2, let's pretend we type the 3, turn into that. So it adds the number onto the end of the string and returns it. Okay, so that's how the button clicks work for these keys, this grid of keys. But now how does the equal work and how does the clear button work? So the clear button here has the styles, and it has an on-click listener which calls the callback function, and that callback function calls clear input, and all that does is sets the expression back to an empty string. So if we type stuff in here, hit the clear, it'll set it back to an empty string. And then lastly, we have the handles equal function, handles equal click. What that does is we have the styles, the button, the equals key, and on the onClick, we call this handles equals clicked function, which evaluates the string using the built-in eval function that JavaScript provides. What eval does is it takes a string in, which is our expression here, that's stored in the useState, and then calls eval on that, so it passes it through a JavaScript compiler, and it makes it fixed to 2 decimal places. And then we set the expression back with that eval value, and we can do math with this. So we can, let's see, times 3. We can do anything we want with this, really. And it's going to fix all of our answers to do 2 decimal places. Okay. And lastly, so I guess we have to go, but lastly, we use the string regex replacement to make sure that JavaScript can correctly interpret all of our operations. Yeah, that's it.